Namaste, welcome to another episode of the Horses King show. Now we are going to talk about more than tourism. Recently, I read an article where they said that COVID cases in UK are rising, even though they have vaccinated 50% of their population. And I thought, what is going to happen in India? We have only vaccinated 13% population, and for one dose and 3% for two doses, and we are opening up now. It's good that we are opening up, it's good that cases are going down, but still people have that mentality, oh, everything is fine now, and they might just go out even if they don't need. So I talked to Dr Chandrakant Lahariya regarding this. I'll introduce him. He's a doctor, of course, and he's an epidemiologist, he's a vaccinologist, he's a public health expert and a policy expert and a writer. So he recently wrote a book about COVID-19 pandemic, and the title of the book is Still We Win, India's Fight Against the COVID-19 Pandemic. And he authored this book with Dr. Randeep Guleria and Dr. Gagandeep Kang. Both are very famous for their work during the pandemic, and still they are doing. So let's jump into the interview and hear his views what is happening in UK and what is happening in India, and what might happen in India, and what is there for you looking at the data of the vaccination and the COVID cases both in India and the UK. I know it's a vague comparison and we should not do it, but I just had this view. So I really wanted some answers, and I asked him frankly, and he answered them very well. So let's jump into it and know what he has to say. The cases in UK are rising, even though they have vaccinated almost 50% of their population, and India has vaccinated only around 13% for one dose and 3-4% for two doses. So, sir, what do you think? Are there more waves going to come, or there is third wave which is waiting to just jump in as soon as we open up? What are your views over third wave in India?
We know that before India entered into second wave, somewhere in January, a nationwide sero survey was conducted, and it was found that in the sero survey, 22% of population had antibody, which essentially meant that 78% of Indian population was susceptible. And so when the second wave happened, and it was ferocious, and many people got affected, so now it is estimated, though there will be a fresh nationwide sero survey, which will provide exact information, but it is estimated that by the end of India would have around 50 to 60% of the population either getting symptomatic infection or developing antibody due to vaccine. So the proportion of susceptible population after the second wave would be smaller, which means still around 40 to 50% population will be susceptible. And we know that while the wave decline, but virus is still around. So as long as virus is around, there is always a possibility of another wave. So we can expect, and that's what happened in such pandemics, that there would be third wave, there would be fourth, fifth, sixth. So there would be continuous waves till either we stop or reduce the transmission of virus, or virus become less infectious or less pathogenic. And that would happen over a period of time, and then disease would become endemic. So that's a pattern which all the pandemics follow. What we know about United Kingdom, that though there is a increase in the cases there, but we cannot compare the increase in India and increase in the United Kingdom. The number of cases had gone down drastically, and now they are seeing a slight rise in the increase in the cases. Part of that rise is due to a new variant, the Delta variant, which is commonly predominant around in India, has become their predominant variant in the United Kingdom. Earlier it was Alpha variant, which was dominant. So this Delta variant, which is also common in Delhi and other parts of India, is 50% more transmissible, which essentially means it passes on to more number of people, 50% higher probability. And that's why UK is seeing a rise in the new cases of COVID-19 in spite of vaccination, because we know the new variants can result in a immune escape, which essentially means people who are already vaccinated may not be protected, or sometimes it's called a breakthrough infection in the people who already received vaccination. So, but what we need to remember, that once population is vaccinated, the number of cases are really low, far lower than what we see. But as long as virus is around, every country has some risk. And finally, there are a few unknowns. These unknowns are related to new variants which may emerge. We really don't know how long the immunity after the last or natural infection lasts. So there are many unknowns. The only assured way of protecting yourself is to following COVID appropriate behavior and getting vaccinated.
Right, sir. The another question I had was, is it okay for a normal people to get into this data and to understand coronavirus, pandemic, and what is happening around the world? Is it okay for them, or they should just, rely on media? What are your views on this?
I think in this context, I would like to talk about the book which I have co-authored with India two
Yeah, I saw that book.
senior
Yeah.
doctors, and Dr. Randeep Guleria and Dr. Gagandeep Kang. Both of them are really eminent and authority in their field.
Yes.
And the entire idea of writing that book was that one of the challenge which all the pandemics comes with is a infodemic, which means
Yeah,
like
sir.
people are looking for information, but they are not sure whether they are getting the right information or not. And the other challenge is that people do really want to know the information, but if they get the wrong information, it can cause fear and panic, and which is bigger challenge. So that's why we co-authored that book, Till We Win, where we provide a simplified information about the virus and pandemic in a common person's language. But
Yeah.
more importantly, I think knowing about virus and disease is so very natural. We really need to understand, or people really want to know that if they are being asked to wear mask, why they are being asked to wear the
Yes, sir.
mask. It's not enough to tell people,
Or
but
even the
it's
vaccine.
important to empower the people about the right information, including about the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because now there are many vaccines, people always have questions, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And they want to know, we need to provide them right and reliable information.
Okay, sir. So I'll get back to the same question. So what I saw is that even after vaccinating, they are having cases increase in UK, and you said that it's because they are having a new variant of virus. So if we are also vaccinating our people, so maybe will be fine for some time until a new variant comes in. So am I right, or is there something you want to add?
Well, so there are two, three things which should
Yeah.
be kind of shared, which will keep the expectations real. One, that vaccines do not prevent from the transmission or infection.
Right.
Vaccines only prevent from the severe form, moderate to severe form of illness. So once person is getting, or once person receives a full immunization, person has a limited or reduced risk for moderate to severe illness and death in comparison of those who are not vaccinated.
Right,
But
sir.
person can still get the infection. They can still harbor the virus in their nose and throat.
Yes,
And
sir.
that is the reason they need to keep wearing a mask. So vaccine does not reduce transmission that much. It reduces moderate to severe illness. But the second point is that there is something which we need to remember, that vaccines have a efficacy of something like 80% to 95%.
Yes, sir.
Which essentially means that everybody who is vaccinated is not protected. A proportion of them are protected, which are around 80%, but 20% people for an 80% efficacy vaccine can still develop infection. So people need to know that they may still get infection. It depends upon multiple factors, their own immune status. It depends upon the type of exposure. If there is a high viral load, person transmit the virus to somebody who is vaccinated, there is a higher risk of getting infected. So vaccine is not 100% guarantee, but it provides a reasonable protection. That's the key thing one need to remember.
Right, sir. Right. So what my takeaway is that, okay, if there are infection rising in UK or other parts of the world, so we are right now for I think few days we are doing fine, but we can't just relax and go back that we got vaccinated and now the cases are going down. So we can't really put down, our mask and social distancing. We have to still very strictly or vigilantly follow them. So
Perfectly right. So key that what we need to remember, that number of cases has come down,
yes, sir.
which simply conveys that the transmission has slowed down.
Yes,
But
sir.
since cases are still being reported, which essentially means the virus is still around.
Yes,
So
sir.
we need to keep following those behavior, those COVID appropriate behavior. We need to reduce our risk of transmission. So we need to avoid the closed spaces, the crowded places. That's how it will prevent us from the infection. But also, as you said, that part that we are, after vaccination, individual is protected or for some period of time, which we believe around 6 to 9 months. But over time, immunity will start reducing, declining. And there is a possibility that person can be fully susceptible.
Right.
Similarly, what is happening in the United Kingdom, new variant emerged, then the efficacy of vaccine against that new variant might be far lower. And in that case, your risk is very high or relatively higher than what your risk is right now. So we need to be mindful of all the things. Till the virus is circulating in any part of the world, till the to follow all the COVID appropriate behavior. Vaccine is one of the tools, not the guaranteed solution that you will be protected or you will not develop disease.
Right, sir, right, sir. And I'm from tourism background. So what I just read in the news that there was a traffic jam in Delhi because Noida, Ghaziabad, and everything opened up, and there was traffic jam in Delhi, even Delhi opened up. So what I know from tourism is that as soon as things open up, people will start traveling. So what is your recommendation for them?
I think it's so normal or natural that people want to go back to their work and they want to finish the activities. And I
Yes,
think
sir.
that should be done. But at the same time, what people should not forget that we are not by not following COVID appropriate behavior, we might be putting ourselves on risk, our family members on the risk, and as a society, all of us on risk of resurgence or re-emergence of the virus. So while this is important that we go out, we do things, but please do follow double masking, COVID appropriate behavior of physical distancing and hand washing. That, we need to do everything. We need to get ourselves vaccinated, follow COVID appropriate behavior, and also resume our activities. My suggestion would be that that people should try to minimize as much as possible going out.
Yes,
They can
sir.
also stagger and think of that which day period of the day could be less crowded and choose your timing accordingly. So you have to follow the behavior in a different spheres and look at the different dimension to reduce your risk of getting disease. So
Right,
please
sir.
do everything which you want to do, but do with the COVID appropriate behavior. Get yourself vaccinated. Ask other people also to follow COVID appropriate behavior. Now it's a combined responsibility. We have seen that what has happened in the second wave, and we don't want to repeat that. But that is a possibility if people again got a little relaxed over a period of time.
Right, sir. And actually, I have just one last question. So, there are people like me who do self isolation or home isolation as soon as they start seeing new cases. So, even before the government put lockdowns or there is a talk about lockdown or shutdown, I think there are some people who want to get away from the crowd as soon as the cases start rising. So, can you suggest? I know I think it will be difficult, but still, can you suggest a number at a certain number or certain percentage of positivity rate so that people who want to isolate, like they just think they should be cautious, so they should isolate themselves. If they see cases rising in their district or in their state or in the country, is there a number or a percentage people should follow?
For government, there are numbers on which restrictions are put in the place, like
Yeah.
anything which is 5% of test positivity rate
Yeah.
is an area of concern. And then when the test positivity rate goes down below 5% and sustained for 2 weeks, then
Right.
the opening up start. So that virus is relatively low rate of transmission. But at an individual level, I would suggest that in the coming weeks and months, we should try to avoid indoor spaces or go in the indoor spaces which are really well ventilated. For example, if you want to go out and meet people, have a meal, which is likely and which people would do because we have to socially and economically get connected,
Yes,
then
sir.
do that in outdoor spaces. I think this responsibility of shopkeepers and restaurants, etc., also to change their places to more of a more ventilated and do open service, etc. So do most of the things in an open space, well ventilated spaces. That should be approach for the people. If it's a closed space, there have to be some other approaches, well ventilation, other things. But all of us need to do our bit to ensure that the virus does not transmit and we stay protected. Once a particular proportion of population is vaccinated, at least one shot for a reasonable amount of people, and then both shots for some more people, that will change the scenario very differently. Many people are comparing that United States has allowed that people without mask can go into a public place. But we need to remember that the United States has provided both shots to nearly 50% of population, and another 30-40% population is received single shot. And India is not there yet. It will take a few more months before India would have that kind of vaccination coverage. Until that kind of vaccination coverage is achieved, we need to keep following COVID appropriate behavior. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel that we know Israel, United Arab Emirates, United States, these are the countries which are really opening up, and that is possible with some restraints at the individual level and scaling up vaccination coverage.
Right, sir. So my takeaway, or for us, a normal people, I think the takeaway is they should keep watch on the number of positivity rate, and 5% is the limit. If they see it fluctuating around 5%, then they should be more cautious. And I think you said just after 5%, the government will put lockdown. So
I would go a step further. From people's perspective, as long as virus is circulating, you have to be cautious.
Right. You have to be cautious. Right.
You have to be cautious as long as virus is around, unless circulation is really reduced, 1% or less than that. But irrespective of what is the circulation, as long as the virus is around, you have to follow those behavior and get vaccinated. Once you have both shots of vaccine, then you can be assured. But get alerted when cases are being reported, when you know somebody
I think
who has developed disease. We need to follow this behavior irrespective of what is the level of virus circulation.
I think, sir, this is the majority of the concern. I think everybody is saying that people are not willing to follow these things. So you put it very well. If you are seeing anything above 1%, you have to be vigilant, and you can't give away all these precautions at any point. But after 1%, you should be more vigilant. Right, sir.
And the other part I would like to highlight that somebody who has any form of comorbidity, any undergoing treatment, they are diabetic, hypertensive, or cardiac, kidney cancer, any illness, no matter which age group they are, they need to be even more cautious. Everybody need to be cautious, but we know that risk of moderate to severe disease is higher in the people with comorbidity, people who are undergoing treatment, people who have immunocompromised status. So those individuals need to follow, be little extra careful. But also, it's not about individual only; it's about family. You might go outside and you might get virus, and then you have a risk of transmitting to an elderly member in the family. So you have to think whole risk for the family, behave accordingly.
Right, sir. I would like to conclude it now, sir. And thank you so much for sharing all the knowledge and the time you gave. It's really honor for me to listen to you, and really answering my questions is a very big deal for me. So thank you so much. So that's all. Thank you for watching this video, and please share it with somebody whom you think might benefit from it. And also, please let me know if there's some topic which you want me to discuss with the experts, or ask their opinion on it. I'll be very happy to do it. I'll try my best. Let's see if I'm able to do it. It's a challenge even for me. Thank you.